I was David. That was my name anyway. It feels like a lifetime ago, a different man in a different world. My world back then was built on solid ground, bricks laid with purpose, mortar mixed with love. Sarah was the architect of my happiness, the vibrant, laughing woman who filled every corner of our shared life. She was the reason I woke up smiling, the thought that propelled me through the daily grind. Stable, predictable, utterly devoted. That was me. That was us. I believed in forever, not as some romantic ideal, but as a tangible future we were building, brick by precious brick. Every decision, every sacrifice, every late night at work, it was all for her, for us. I saw her not just as my wife, but as the very essence of my contentment, the quiet hum of perfection in a chaotic world. Then came the late-night notification, a tiny, innocuous ping on her phone, illuminated by the dim glow of the bedside lamp as she slept beside me, or so I thought. I wasn't looking for anything, just reaching for my own device, but the screen caught my eye. A message, innocent enough at first glance, but the sender's name was etched into my memory before I even registered the words. Curiosity, that insidious serpent, unwound itself in my gut. My fingers, trembling with a premonition I desperately tried to ignore, found her thumbprint. The screen unlocked, and my world imploded. Whispered secrets, illicit plans, a depth of betrayal I couldn't comprehend. It wasn't a single mistake, a moment of weakness. It was a sustained, calculated deception, a clandestine life she'd been living under the very roof we called home. My beautiful wife, my vibrant Sarah. She hadn't just cheated. She had defiled the very foundation of our existence, turning our sacred space into a stage for her lies. The man who believed in forever died that night. He bled out on the cold tile of our bathroom floor, watching his reflection morph into something unrecognizable. The pain was physical, a scorching fire in my chest that stole my breath. But it was the profound emptiness that followed, the echoing void where love and trust once resided, that truly transformed me. Sarah, my Sarah, had left me a hollow shell. For days I walked through life in a fog, a ghost in my own home, haunted by her laughter, her touch, her lies. But the fog eventually cleared, replaced by a chilling clarity. The tears dried, replaced by a bitter resolve. I saw her not as the woman I loved, but as an antagonist in a story I never wanted to write. She wanted adoration, a perfect life, a dazzling public image, all while living a lie. And I, the quiet, predictable David, would ensure she got exactly what she deserved. My revenge wouldn't be loud or violent. That was too simple, too fleeting. It wouldn't bring back the man she destroyed. No, my revenge would be an art form, a meticulous architecture of ruin built on the very desires she held dearest. I would become the invisible hand, guiding her not towards destruction directly, but towards a peak so high the fall would be all the more devastating. The planning began immediately, cold and precise. I observed her, not with love, but with the dispassionate gaze of a strategist. I studied her ambitions, her insecurities, her deepest wants. She craved career success, a prominent role in her industry. She yearned for social recognition, to be seen as the it couple, the perfect wife with the perfect life. And she always spoke of that dream home, sprawling, elegant, a testament to her imagined success. I would give her all of it. I would help her build this towering edifice of illusion, brick by painstaking brick, and then, from within, I would ensure it collapsed under its own weight of deceit. The first phase was subtle. I became the most supportive husband imaginable, a master of feigned enthusiasm. Sarah mentioned a new coveted position opening up at her firm, one she thought was beyond her reach. "You're perfect for it," I'd tell her, my voice laced with a practiced sincerity. Then I'd accidentally leave relevant industry reports on the coffee table, highlighted with insights I knew would catch her eye and give her an edge. I'd suggest she attend specific networking events where I knew key decision-makers would be present, even going so far as to subtly arrange introductions through my own contacts, never letting her suspect my true motives. I'd listen intently to her practice presentations, offering constructive criticism disguised as loving encouragement, subtly shaping her narrative, ensuring she appeared indispensable. I watched her soar, her confidence growing with each step, a grim satisfaction curdling in my gut. Every compliment I gave her, every word of encouragement felt like a small poisoned dart. My heart was a frozen wasteland, but my smile remained unwavering. Living this lie, day in and day out, was a torment, a constant battle against the urge to scream the truth, to shatter the fragile peace. But the cold fire of my resolve burned brighter. This wasn't about my pain anymore. It was about her reckoning. As her career flourished, so did our social standing. I meticulously curated our social circle, orchestrating dinner parties, inviting the right people, ensuring Sarah was always at the center, lauded, admired. I watched her bask in their adoration, her carefully constructed public persona shining brightly. She truly believed she was earning it, unaware that I was the unseen hand pulling the strings, polishing her image, making her appear more brilliant, more gracious, more perfect than she truly was. Each night, as she recounted her triumphs, her eyes sparkling with self-satisfaction, I would nod, offer a genuine-sounding praise, and then retreat into the silence of my own mind, counting the minutes until the grand unveiling. The emptiness inside me grew with her success. It wasn't joy I felt, but a cold, hard sense of purpose. The old David, who cherished her happiness, was long dead. This new David simply observed, calculated, and waited. Then came the dream home, her ultimate desire, a testament to her ascendancy. I threw myself into it, not with the enthusiasm of a man building a future with his love, but with the precision of a craftsman carving a coffin. I personally oversaw every detail, from the architectural plans to the selection of finishes. I worked tirelessly, fueled by a bleak determination, making sure every corner, every room reflected the lavish, perfect life she envisioned. "It's everything I ever dreamed of," she'd sigh, walking through the sun-drenched rooms, her arm linked in mine, completely oblivious to the bitter irony. I built her a gilded cage, a magnificent trap, where she would finally be consumed by her own reflection. She was at the zenith. The promotion was hers, the social accolades poured in, and now the dream home was complete, a monument to her perceived triumph. She was radiant, exuding an almost unbearable self-importance. She felt invincible. She had it all. And I, her devoted husband, had made it all possible. The time was ripe. My plan for the reveal wasn't about a scandalous video leak or a whispered exposé. Sarah's downfall needed to be spectacular, public, and, most importantly, her own fault. Her ambition, fueled by her deceit, would be the engine of her destruction. She was being considered for a prestigious, nationally televised award, a lifetime achievement honor that would solidify her place at the very top of her industry. The ceremony was months away, a meticulously planned event, attended by all the luminaries, broadcast live. The ultimate stage for her perfect life. I had been compiling evidence for months, not of her infidelity directly, but of the subtle, unethical shortcuts she'd taken to climb the ladder, the tiny manipulations and credit stealing that had gone unnoticed, dismissed as aggressive ambition. All of it was linked to her insatiable need to be perceived as perfect, to outshine everyone else. And I had a contact, a seemingly innocuous former colleague of hers, whom I had subtly nurtured, planting seeds of professional grievance that festered. This contact, I knew, would be attending the award ceremony as a guest. Weeks before the big night, I accidentally left a file on my shared home computer, easily accessible to her. A file containing fabricated, highly confidential information about a rival candidate for the same award. This information implied a significant, though unsubstantiated, professional misconduct on the rival's part. It was just enough to sow doubt, to trigger Sarah's competitive, ruthless streak. I knew she couldn't resist. She would leak this information anonymously, just enough to discredit her rival, ensuring her own path to the award was clear. It was a desperate, unethical move, born purely from her own ambition and fear of not being perfect. What she didn't know was that the information was a false flag, meticulously crafted to lead back to her. My former colleague received an anonymous tip, perfectly timed to make hers a conduit for the scandal. On the night of the awards, she was radiant, dressed impeccably, basking in the pre-ceremony glow. I stood beside her, my hand resting on the small of her back, a silent observer of her final moments of glory. The speeches began, leading up to her category. Then a murmuring started. Phones began to buzz. A breaking news alert flashed across screens, rapidly spreading through the room. The story detailed a shocking smear campaign against a prominent industry leader, using fabricated information, and the anonymous source was being traced back to a specific IP address, our home IP address. Then, the name of my former colleague was mentioned. Her statements to the press, her thinly veiled accusations pointing directly at Sarah's ambition as the root cause. The room went silent, then buzzed with scandalized whispers. The cameras, once focused on Sarah's triumphant smile, now captured her face draining of all color, her eyes wide with dawning horror. Her perfectly curated world imploded, not because someone exposed her affair, but because her own ambition, her own deceit, had publicly dismantled everything she had built. The perfect life she so desperately craved, built on lies, crumbled before the eyes of the entire world, exposed as the very lie she tried to bury. I watched, expressionless, as the spotlight shifted from her triumph to her disgrace. Her name was called for the award, a cruel twist of the knife, only for the presenter to announce a sudden review of the selection process due to unforeseen ethical concerns. The silence was deafening. She stood there, exposed, not as a cheater, but as an unethical, manipulative fraud, her perfect life shattered by her own hand. I simply pulled the right thread, letting her watch, helpless, as her perfect life imploded. The aftermath was brutal. The career she had built collapsed. Her social standing evaporated overnight. The dream home, once a symbol of her success, became a gilded prison, tainted by public shame. I eventually left, quietly, with nothing but the clothes on my back and the hollow satisfaction of a job meticulously executed. There was no joy, no triumphant cheer, just an immense, consuming emptiness. The pain she inflicted was avenged, but the man I once was remained dead. My revenge was complete, her perfect downfall orchestrated. But the cost, for both of us, was everything. She wanted a perfect life. I gave her a perfect downfall. And in doing so, I became something I never imagined, an empty echo, walking away from the ruins I helped create, forever changed by the bitter taste of justice.